Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to another lesson. In this lesson, we are going to learn how to write IELTS Writing Task 2. The focus of our lesson is going to be a discussion essay. Now, remember when it comes to your IELTS Writing Task 2, there are some very important points that you need to remember. The first thing is that you get only 40 minutes for your writing task 2. You should write over 250 words, but not more than 280, for example. Because remember, you only have 40 minutes to write. And the longer you make your essay, the more time you waste, but also there is a great chance that you will make more mistakes. The next point is to remember that your IELTS Writing Task 2 is worth about 66% of your total writing marks. You will be marked on task response, coherence and cohesion, vocabulary, and grammar. It is also very important to remember that you could get different types of essays. You could get questions or essays based on opinions. Like for example, in the previous video, we looked at how to write an opinion essay for your task 2. You could also get a discussion essay. Like for instance, in this lesson, we are going to learn how to write a discussion essay. You can also get an disadvantage type of essay. There are many categories. Now, the general training students get exactly the same writing task 2 as the academic students. The essay is written in the same way and scoring is the same. The only difference is that the general training essay questions are often easier and the topics are simpler. All the words will be counted, even small or repeated words. Now, let us look at our question. So, in the previous lesson, I uploaded a video about how to write the introduction. We saw in that video that when it comes to your introduction, the examiner is marking the background statement and the thesis statement. So if you haven't watched that video, I recommend that you watch it based on this question and exactly the same discussion essay. Okay? Now, when it comes to your writing task 2, the very first thing that you should do once you receive your question is to read it. Make sure you read it, analyze it, make sure you understand it. In this case, our question is, some people think that men and women have different qualities. Some people, they think that men and women have different qualities. Remember in the previous lesson about when we were writing the introduction, we replaced the word qualities with characteristics. So some people think that men and women have different qualities, different character traits. Therefore, certain jobs are suitable for men and some for women. So some people think that because women have different characteristics, different personality traits, certain jobs are only suitable for men and some are only suitable for women because, according to this statement, men and women have different qualities. Now the question is, discuss both sides, okay? Discuss both sides and give your opinion. So in this question, you're expected to write a paragraph to justify the fact that men and women should do different jobs because they have different qualities. That is one paragraph. And then you should write another paragraph disagreeing with that statement. In other words, you should write a paragraph arguing that regardless of the gender of somebody, it doesn't matter whether someone is a man or a woman, they can do any job. Okay? So in the first paragraph, you're supposed to agree with the statement. And then in the next paragraph, you're supposed to disagree with the statement. And then you're supposed to provide your own personal opinion. Okay? So what the examiner is looking for in this essay is that, number one, you agree with the statement. And then after that, you write another paragraph disagreeing with the statement. And then in your conclusion, you provide your own personal opinion. So discuss both sides and give your opinion. So in paragraph 2, we are going to agree with the statement. In paragraph 3, we are going to disagree with the statement. And in our conclusion, we are going to provide our opinion. Okay? Now, let us see how to write that. Now, when it comes to body paragraph 2 and body paragraph 3, you should always begin your paragraph with a topic sentence. What is a topic sentence? A topic sentence is where you introduce your key point. It is where you introduce your argument. It is where you introduce your main idea that you're going to be justifying in the rest of the paragraph. So when the examiner reads the first sentence of your body paragraph, they should know straight away what that paragraph is going to be talking about, because in the topic sentence, you introduce that idea. Now, in my case, I have written, on the one hand, indeed, certain characteristics in the two genders can make it harder for them to undertake some jobs or professions. On the one hand, okay, it is very important that you use that connector to introduce your body paragraph 2, because remember, body paragraph 2 should be the complete opposite of body paragraph 3. So it is very important that you begin with a connector that is used for comparing and contrasting. So, on the one hand, indeed, certain characteristics in the two genders can make it harder for them to undertake some jobs or professions. In that paragraph, I have started with a topic sentence in which I agree with the statement. So I have simply transferred the meaning of the statement to my topic sentence. Remember, the topic sentence is where you introduce your key point. So in that topic sentence, I am agreeing with the statement that indeed certain characteristics, that is qualities, in the two genders, which means men and women, can make it harder, okay, for them to undertake. To undertake means to carry out some jobs or professions. Yes, I agree that certain characteristics in men and women can make it really hard for them to do some jobs or professions. Now, after that, the examiner will be waiting for me to give them the points or the examples to justify my claim. I need to prove it. So, I start off with, for example, it would be physically challenging for a woman to work as a construction worker on a building site. So that is my first point to justify the fact that certain characteristics in women make it hard for them to work as construction workers. Okay, for example, it would be physically challenging for a woman to work as a construction worker on a building site. And then I go ahead and explain why. This is because, so I use the linking word or the connector because. This is because this sort of job does involve lifting of very heavy equipment and building materials, making it easier for men who are generally more stronger and muscular. So, in that case, I have given the first point to justify why I think certain characteristics in women make it hard for them to work as construction workers. I gave the reason, and the reason I gave was the fact that working as a construction worker involves a lot of heavy equipment, lifting of very heavy equipment and building materials, okay? And for that reason, it makes it easier for men to do that sort of job because they are more stronger and muscular. So in that point, I have introduced the qualities because the question is about what qualities in men and women make it harder for them to do certain jobs. So in my case, I have pointed out that it is generally easier for men to do construction work because they are stronger and muscular. The examiner will be expecting you to use some words to describe men's character and women's character because we're talking about different qualities. So in that case, men are stronger and muscular, and because of that, it makes it easier for them to do construction work because for women, that job would be too difficult because it involves a lot of lifting of very heavy equipment and building materials. So that is the first point that I identified, and I gave an example. And then I move on to the next point. So I introduced that with a connector. On the other hand, men don't have the patience to attend to crying babies, change their nappies, and feed them. So now I have introduced another point, okay, to prove that certain characteristics in men make it hard for them to do certain jobs because men don't have the patience to attend to crying babies, change their nappies, and feed them. Instead, women tend to be quite motherly and attentive, which makes it easier for them to take on this responsibility. Okay? So, in the next point, I'm now discussing some characteristics or some qualities in men which make it harder for them to do certain jobs. And the point I have put across is that men would find it harder to take care of crying babies, change their nappies, and feed them because men are not patient, okay? Instead, it is easier for women to do that kind of job because they are quite motherly and attentive. Now, those are the qualities that I have identified for women that make it easier for them to look after children because they are motherly and attentive, okay? Which makes it easier for them to take on this responsibility. All right? So what I have done in body paragraph 2, I began the body paragraph 2 with the topic sentence where I agreed with a statement. After that, I gave my first point to support the statement, okay? And after that, I gave an example. And then I moved on to men. So I started with women, and then I moved on to the next point where I talked about men. And then I gave a point to justify why men cannot do certain jobs. Instead, women find it easier to do that because they have qualities such as being motherly and attentive. And men are impatient. They don't have the patience to attend to crying babies, change their nappies, and feed them. Now, let's move on to body paragraph 3. In body paragraph 3, as we saw earlier on, you are now going to disagree with a statement. You are going to disagree with a statement that Some people think that men and women have different qualities. Therefore, certain jobs are suitable for men and some for women. So in this paragraph, you're going to write the opposite opinion to the one that you wrote in body paragraph 2. And you're going to do that by introducing that opinion in the topic sentence. Okay? On the contrary, you have to begin with a contrasting connector. The previous paragraph, you began it with on the one hand. So this other paragraph should be the opposite. So you should start it with a contrasting connector. In my case, I began with on the contrary. You can also just use the connector on the other hand. So the previous paragraph you started with on the one hand, and then the next paragraph you start with on the other hand. Okay, if you find that easier to remember, on the one hand, on the other hand. But in my case, I chose to begin with on the contrary, which is also a very good connector for high band. So on the contrary, I strongly believe that given the chance, anybody can do any job regardless of their gender. So in that topic sentence, I have made it very clear. I have made my opinion very clear, okay? Because remember, it says discuss both sides and give your opinion. So I am already making it very clear that this is my opinion. And my opinion is the opposite of the statement that IELTS has provided me with. So, on the other hand, on the contrary, I strongly believe that. That is a very, very important statement to use when you're writing a discussion essay where you have to give your opinion. So, on the contrary, I strongly believe that given the chance, anybody can do any job regardless of their gender. So in this topic sentence, I am taking a stand, and in that stand, I'm making it very clear it's also my opinion. And that is the fact that I believe that given the chance, anybody can do any job. It doesn't matter what gender you are, regardless of their gender. Okay? And then after that, I have to prove, or I have to give the examiner points to support my opinion. So we begin. In our modern life, men and women are challenging this stereotype on daily basis. Okay, so in our modern life, men and women are challenging this stereotype on daily basis. There is a stereotype that men should do certain jobs and women should do certain jobs. Now, and that is what we saw in paragraph 2. But I'm making it very clear that in our modern life, men and women are challenging this stereotype. Challenging means that they are doing the opposite of what is expected. Okay? And then after that, I'm going to give some examples. In hospitals, for example, you have both male and female nurses. So that is one example to prove that in our day-to-day life, men and women are challenging. They are going against that stereotype, because in hospitals, we have both female and male nurses. I need to give another example. Furthermore, so I use the connector or the linking word furthermore that we normally use when you want to add another point. So furthermore, we have a lot of men out there who are doing a commendable job taking care of their children, either as single dads or as stay-at-home dads, if the wife is the sole financial provider of the family. So in that point, I have made it very clear that we have a lot of men. We have a lot of men who are taking care of their children, either because they are single dads or because they are stay-at-home dads, because their wife has to go and work, because she is the only financial provider of the family. There are a lot of men who are sitting at home, taking care of their children, okay, and doing a brilliant, a commendable job, okay, because the wife is the one who works and is the one who provides for the family. There are a lot of men out there who are taking care of their children. Now, after that, I provide another point. Unlike in the past, we do also have a lot of women doing stereotypically male-dominated professions such as engineering, politics, carpentry, and plumbing, defying the general perception that they are the weaker gender. Unlike in the past, we do also have a lot of women doing stereotypically male-dominated professions such as engineering, politics, carpentry, and plumbing, defying the general perception that they are the weaker gender. Okay? So I have provided in that point another example to prove that given the chance, anybody can do any job regardless of their gender. I have provided the point that, unlike in the past, nowadays you have women doing stereotypically male-dominated professions such as engineering. You have women working in politics. You have women working in carpentry as carpenters. And also you have women doing plumbing jobs, okay? Defying means going against the general perception or the general stereotype that women are the weaker gender. Okay? So what I have done in paragraph 3, I began by introducing my opinion, okay, in the topic sentence. After that, I gave 3 examples to support my argument or to support my claim that I introduced in the topic sentence. And that is exactly what the examiner expects you to do. Remember, this is a very high band answer, okay? It is a very high band answer. So, and the reason for that is, you notice, for example, I use a lot of very complicated vocabulary, okay? I also use a lot of connectors. I also make my points very clear by using examples to justify them, okay? And I introduce all my points with connectors. Like, for example, it would be physically challenging for a woman to work as a construction worker on a building site. And then I give the reason for that. This is because, okay? So that is how we write body paragraph 2 and body paragraph 3. And now let's move on to the conclusion. Now, in the conclusion, you're supposed to reinforce your opinion. Remember, in paragraph 3, I already introduced my opinion because I used, right in the topic sentence, I used very strong words. I said, I strongly believe that. Okay? So it's very clear to the examiner that is my opinion. And in the conclusion, I'm going to reinforce, I'm going to reiterate, I'm going to repeat my opinion. So remember, we always begin the conclusion with words such as to conclude or to sum up, okay? To conclude or to sum up, those kind of words, or in conclusion, all right? So in my case, I used to sum up, comma, I'm convinced that, you see, I'm making it very clear what I'm strengthening my opinion here through the use of the words, I'm convinced that. To sum up, I'm convinced that gender stereotypes should not determine one's choice of career or profession. We all have different personalities irrespective of our genders. What really matters is the interest, desire, and passion to do any job. Now, I began that conclusion, like I pointed out, by strengthening my opinion. And I did that through the use of the words, I am convinced that. Gender stereotypes, okay? Gender stereotypes, that means that the fact that the society sometimes thinks that women can only do certain jobs and men can only do certain jobs. Those are gender stereotypes. I have pointed out that they should not determine one's choice of career or profession. So whatever career you choose to do or whatever profession that you choose to do, it should not be determined by gender stereotypes, such as a woman should not work in politics, a man should not be a stay-home dad, for example, okay? A man should not work as a nurse. Those kind of jobs are for women. These are all gender stereotypes. They should not determine one's choice of career or profession. And the reason for that is we all have different personalities, irrespective of our genders. So regardless of what gender you are, whether you're a man or a woman, you have your own unique personality. It is not determined by your gender. And because of that, I pointed out then, finally, that what really matters is the interest, the desire, and the passion to do any job. As long as you have the interest and the desire and the passion to do any job, then you should be able to do it and do it really well, regardless of whether you're a man or a woman. So, I'm convinced that gender stereotypes should not determine one's choice of career or profession. Okay? So, in your conclusion, first of all, in your topic sentence, make it very clear what your opinion is, strengthen it because you already introduced it in body paragraph 3. So repeat it very strongly, and then after that, explain why very briefly. Okay? Explain that very briefly, linking it to the statement that IELTS has provided you with. Okay? So in other words, in your conclusion, you're responding to the statement by IELTS. You're responding very directly to it. Okay? I'm convinced that gender stereotypes should not determine one's choice of career or profession. We all have different personalities, irrespective of our genders. What really matters is the interest, desire, and passion to do any job. Now, that answer is responding very directly, very directly to IELTS statement that some people think that men and women have different qualities and therefore they should do certain jobs that are suitable for men and some for women. So I'm responding in my conclusion. I am responding directly to the statement. And that's how you write a Band 9 conclusion. Okay? Now, this brings me to the last section of our lesson, where I'm just going to give you a final recap of the things that you need to do to ensure that you're writing a Band 8, Band 9 discussion essay. The first thing that you need to do, read the question, analyze it, make sure you understand both sides of the question. After you have done that, then plan. And what I mean by planning is divide your page into two. On one side, write the key point for the first paragraph. On the other side, write the key point for the second paragraph. In the first paragraph, you agree with the statement. And on the other side of your paragraph, you don't agree with it. Then write the key points. Remember, you're planning. Write the points that you're going to use to prove the key point that you have put down in your planning. What are the sub-points? Okay? Identify 3 to 4 sub-points that you're going to use to justify the key point in your body paragraph. Okay? And then after that, move on to the other side, and that is where you disagree. Then write the key point, and then write 3 to 4 sub-points that you're going to use to prove that key point. And remember to use examples. Okay? And then once you have done that, you begin writing your body paragraph. You begin with the statement that IELTS has provided you. Okay? Rephrase it. And then after that, use the points, the sub-points that you wrote in your plan, join them together and just write your sentences. Okay? And then move on to body paragraph 3. Write your topic sentence and then write the points that you have in your plan to prove the point that you introduced in your body paragraph 3. And then write your conclusion. Remember to start your conclusion with to sum up, and then you can use a statement such as I'm convinced that, and then answer directly to the statement that IELTS has provided you with. okay, like I have done here. The next thing is remember to use your linking words very effectively. When you want to add information, you can use in addition to, furthermore, moreover, but remember to begin your body paragraph 2 with a contrasting and comparative connector, such as on the one hand, and the other paragraph you can start with on the other hand or on the contrary, okay? And then to introduce your examples, you can use for example, okay? And then to give a reason for that, you can use this is because, okay? And then to introduce the next point, you can say on the other hand, or even you can say furthermore or moreover, okay? That would also be fantastic, okay? Now, if you found this lesson helpful, if you learned anything new, okay? If you think this lesson is going to make a difference in your life, especially when it comes to your IELTS test, then return the favor. Please subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, and share the video on all your social media platforms. Remember, sharing is caring. I have shared this video with you, so share it with other people, okay? That will make the world better, okay? Now, if you have any questions, feel free to put the questions in the comment section, but remember also to watch the first part of this discussion essay, and that is how to write the introduction, because that is also extremely, extremely important. Now, thank you very much for watching, and until our next lesson, bye-bye.